Xin chào tất cả các bạn học sinh, các bạn thí sinh đăng ký thi IELTS với IDP đã đến với buổi hội thảo nâng bên điểm speaking một cách dễ dàng với chuyên gia IELTS của IDP. Các bạn có nghe được chị không? Thì các bạn sẽ chat giúp chị vào phần ô chat nhé. Chị cảm ơn các bạn. Good morning tất cả các bạn. Ngày hôm nay thì trong một cái tiết trời vô cùng là đẹp trời của ngày Chủ nhật đúng không? Và các bạn đã vẫn dành thời gian để tham dự cái buổi hội thảo này. Thì chị tin chắc chắn rằng là 120 bạn ở trong cái buổi hội thảo ngày hôm nay sẽ là những người ôn tập một cách rất là hiệu quả và sẽ đạt được cái tên điểm mà mong muốn của mình nhé. Và chị xin giới thiệu một chút, chị là Bạch Lan Hương. Chị đang là quản lý phát triển bài thi IELTS ở khu vực miền Bắc và miền Trung. Và ngày hôm nay chuyên gia IELTS của IDP, một thầy giáo rất là dễ thương, chính là thầy Cormac.
Hi guys.
Hi Cormac. Do you want to say something
hello.
to the candidates today?
Sure. Xin chào mọi người. Hello everyone. Good morning. Chào buổi sáng. Welcome to the IDP workshop on speaking today. Hopefully we can share a lot of information. I can give you some tips and strategies to help you with your speaking skill, and we can have more success in the future. So thank you for all coming on this early Sunday morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Cormac. Và một lát nữa thôi thì chúng ta sẽ gặp lại thầy Cormac. Các bạn lưu ý giúp chị này là trong buổi hôm nay thì các bạn có bất cứ câu hỏi gì thì mình sẽ chat vào phần Q&A, chứ đừng chat vào phần ô chat nhé. Bởi vì là phần Q&A thì cuối giờ thì chúng ta sẽ có thể mở ra và có thể trả lời được từng câu hỏi và nó không bị trôi cái câu hỏi của mình đi. Và bây giờ thì chị sẽ bắt đầu phần chia sẻ của chị trước tiên nhé. Ok, các bạn nhìn được màn hình của chị chưa nhỉ? Rồi, trước khi bắt đầu ngày hôm nay thì chị được biết rằng là hôm nay sẽ có những bạn thí sinh đến từ khắp mọi nơi trên đất nước Việt Nam. Vậy thì các bạn có thể cho chị hỏi là các bạn đang đến từ tỉnh thành nào ở Việt Nam được không? Các bạn có thể chat giúp chị xem các bạn đang ở tỉnh thành nào của Việt Nam nhé.
An Giang, Quảng Bình, An Giang, Hồ Chí Minh, Hà Nội, CHUYên, Tiền Giang.
Các bạn đến từ Vũng Tàu, thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Cần Thơ, Quảng Nam và rất là nhiều bạn từ khu vực miền Nam đúng không? Và các bạn miền Nam thì đã phải đợi rất là lâu rồi thì lại mới có được một bài thi IELTS. Và chị chúc các bạn là sẽ có bài thi và đạt kết quả cao nhất mong muốn của mình nhé. Giờ chị có thấy một bạn đến từ Hà Nội, các bạn đến từ Bình Dương và Vũng Tàu, Huế. Rồi, chị xin cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã chia sẻ với chị là mình đến từ đâu. Thế thì các bạn có thể chat với chị xem là cái ngày thi IELTS dự kiến của các bạn là ngày nào được không? Cái ngày thi mà các bạn đã đăng ký á. 18, rất là nhiều bạn thi ngày 18, có bạn thi máy ngày 29. Các bạn rất là nhiều bạn thi máy ngày 13, 14 này. Có những bạn thi ngày 30.
13.
Yes.
Ngày mai. Oh my god, tomorrow. Okay.
Yes. Many students will be attend the test for tomorrow. Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn. Và như vậy là sẽ có rất nhiều bạn lựa chọn hình thức thi máy tính và cũng có rất là nhiều bạn lựa chọn hình thức thi giấy. Vậy thì chúng ta sẽ cùng xem là cái bài thi speaking của hai cái bài thi này thì có điểm gì khác biệt và điểm gì mà mình cần lưu ý không nhé. Ok. Vậy thì như các bạn cũng biết thì IDP là đơn vị, là một tập đoàn toàn cầu. Hiện nay thì IDP đã có mặt trên hơn 100 quốc gia trên thế giới. Và chúng tôi thì ngoài là đơn vị khảo thí, sở hữu và tổ chức cái bài thi IELTS trên toàn cầu, thì chúng tôi còn có một cái dịch vụ là dịch vụ tư vấn du học. Và hiện nay thì chúng tôi đã có hơn 500.000 sinh viên đi du học thành công tại 6 quốc gia. Bên cạnh đấy nữa là nếu như các bạn cũng biết là IDP ở Việt Nam thì có mặt từ 25 năm. Nhưng mà chúng tôi có một cái đơn vị đào tạo là ACET với 18 năm kinh nghiệm giảng dạy. Và hiện nay thì khoảng 80% học viên của ACET đạt được êm điểm là từ 6.0 trở lên. Và vừa rồi thì cũng có rất là nhiều bạn đã chia sẻ là các bạn đã chọn hình thức kỳ thi IELTS trên máy tính đúng không? Chị tin chắc rằng là những cái ưu điểm của bài thi trên máy tính Và đặc biệt là với thế hệ Gen Z bây giờ thì các bạn sẽ ngày càng ưa thích bài thi trên máy tính, bởi vì 3 lý do. Thứ nhất là nó sẽ có kết quả rất là nhanh, từ 3 đến 5 ngày. Nếu như các bạn đã từng thi IELTS một lần thì các bạn sẽ thấy là 13 cái ngày chờ đợi nó rất là dài, và lúc nào mình cũng cảm thấy rất là lo lắng, căng thẳng vì không biết là điểm số như thế nào. Nhưng mà với bài thi trên máy tính thì thời gian các bạn chờ đợi chỉ có từ 3 đến 5 ngày mà thôi. Bên cạnh đấy nữa thì cái lịch thi linh hoạt sẽ giúp cho các bạn rất là chủ động về cái quy trình, cái lộ trình học tập của mình. Nếu như các bạn biết rằng là có những cái đợt thời gian mà các bạn rất muốn thi, nhưng mà khi mà mình quyết định đăng ký thi thì đã hết mất chỗ rồi, thì lúc đấy cái lịch thi máy tính nó sẽ rất là hữu ích cho mình, mình có thể đăng ký ngay và có thể thi ngay. Bên cạnh đấy nữa, nó lại còn có một cái ưu điểm nữa là các bạn có thể đăng ký thi máy tính xong ngày hôm trước, 3 ngày sau các bạn nhận điểm mà các bạn chưa ưng ý với điểm đấy thì các bạn có thể đăng ký ngay lập tức, và như vậy thì có thể hoàn toàn chủ động được cái điểm số của mình cho đến khi nào mà các bạn đạt được điểm số mong muốn thì thôi. Và cũng bên cạnh đấy nữa thì các bạn sẽ vô cùng tiết kiệm thời gian. Nếu mà các bạn thi 4 kỹ năng trong cùng một ngày và lại tại cùng một địa điểm nữa thì cái việc đấy chị nghĩ là sẽ rất là tiết kiệm thời gian và công sức, nhất là những bạn nào mà chưa chủ động được về phương tiện mà phải nhờ bố mẹ, đúng không? Rồi, vậy thì trước khi bắt đầu phần tiếp theo thì chị muốn hỏi các bạn là các bạn có biết là trong ngày 12 này, trong tháng 12 này, hôm nay là ngày 12 này, và thì các bạn có biết rằng là còn bao nhiêu kỳ thi trên giấy không? Còn bao nhiêu ngày thi trên giấy và đó là những ngày nào? Nếu như các bạn biết là bài thi trên giấy thì nó sẽ có vào ngày thứ 7 hàng tuần, đúng không? Hôm nay là ngày 12, như vậy chúng ta sẽ còn ngày 18 và ngày 30. Cảm ơn bạn Trâm Anh, cảm ơn bạn Thiên Ân Nguyễn Quan, cảm ơn bạn Phúc Nguyễn Hoàng đã trả lời rất là đúng. Chúng ta còn 2 ngày thi trên giấy nữa là ngày 18 và ngày 30 trên tháng 12 này. Ok. Các bạn đã chứng tỏ là các bạn tìm hiểu rất là kỹ về kỳ thi IELTS rồi. Vậy thì các bạn có biết rằng là khi mà các bạn đăng ký thi IELTS với IDP thì các bạn sẽ nhận được những gì không? Thì chị nghĩ rằng là cái quan trọng nhất là chúng ta sẽ được hỗ trợ cái học thuật một cách toàn diện. Toàn diện nghĩa là như thế nào? Các bạn có thể nhìn thấy hình ảnh ở trên màn hình của chị nhé. Theo lời khuyên của các cái đơn vị khảo thí thì các bạn nên đăng ký thi trước khoảng 3 tháng. Tại sao lại như vậy? Bởi vì là khi mà các bạn đăng ký xong thì các bạn sẽ được nhận ngay cái bộ ôn luyện và bộ tài liệu luyện thi online độc quyền của IDP. Các bạn sẽ có thời gian từ trước đó 3 tháng để các bạn luyện tập với cái bộ tài liệu này. Sau đó trước 1 tháng thì các bạn có thể tham dự cái kỳ thi thử của IDP gồm có 2 kỹ năng, và nếu mà chị nghĩ là trong khoảng nửa tháng nữa thôi, khi mà các trường học đi học lại một cách bình thường thì lúc đó chúng ta có thể đến văn phòng của IDP từ thứ 2 đến thứ 6 để tiến hành thi thử 2 kỹ năng này, cũng như là làm quen với cái thiết bị tai nghe của kỳ thi, đúng không? Sau đó 3 tuần trước kỳ thi thì các bạn có thể xem là có những cái hội thảo chuyên sâu nào của IDP dành cho bạn hay không. Ví dụ như cái hội thảo nâng band điểm speaking này sẽ là một cái hội thảo chuyên sâu mà IDP dành để hỗ trợ các thí sinh. Cái thứ tiếp theo nữa là 2 tuần trước kỳ thi thì các bạn có thể tham dự xem là cái IELTS Masterclass. Thì cái IELTS Masterclass này nếu trong điều kiện bình thường thì IDP sẽ tổ chức vào sáng thứ 4 hàng tuần, và các bạn sẽ có thể thi thử xong có thể nghe được cái kinh nghiệm và chiến lược để tối ưu hóa cái điểm thi của mình với chuyên gia của IDP, đúng không ạ? Và 1 tuần trước kỳ thi thôi, nếu những bạn nào thi máy tính thì lúc đó các bạn có thể đến văn phòng của IDP đăng ký để trải nghiệm 3 kỹ năng ở trên máy tính, và như vậy các bạn có thể hoàn toàn tự tin là mình đi thi và mình không lạ lẫm gì cái giao diện của bài thi trên máy tính cả. Đó. Thì một phần nữa là các bạn có biết rằng là cái khóa IELTS Preparation Course của IDP thì nó được xây dựng bởi trường đại học Macquarie và các bạn có thời hạn sử dụng là khoảng 30 ngày. Do vậy là bên cạnh đấy nó còn hỗ trợ toàn diện là 4 kỹ năng nghe nói đọc viết nữa. Thế nên là các bạn hoàn toàn có thể rất là tự tin với cái bài thi này của Macquarie cung cấp.
IDP Education has partnered with Macquarie University to provide you with free access to a comprehensive online preparation course called IELTS Master. IELTS Master is designed and developed at the Macquarie University IELTS Test Centre in Sydney, Australia. When you book a test at participating centres, you will receive a confirmation email. Inside that email, you will see a banner promoting access to the free preparation. Simply click that banner to start your free access to IELTS Master. You can choose one module: reading, writing, listening, or speaking. When choosing your one free module, think about which skill you need to practice the most. During your 30-day free access period, you can access your chosen module anytime, anywhere. You'll get access to up to 25 hours of online study time, 2 free practice tests in your chosen module, detailed feedback and model answers for all activities, and expert IELTS tips and study strategies. IELTS Master has helped tens of thousands of IELTS candidates around the world to prepare for the IELTS test.
Rồi, và vừa rồi các bạn thì cũng thấy rằng là cái bài thi, bộ tài liệu này thì thực sự chị nghĩ rằng là nó sẽ rất là hữu ích. Bởi chị biết rằng là hiện nay các bạn thì có rất là nhiều nguồn tài liệu đúng không? Nhưng mà các bạn sẽ thấy rằng là nguồn tài liệu từ đơn vị khảo thí thì chắc chắn là nó đã có một cái nghiên cứu rất là sâu và cái độ chính xác của nó sẽ rất là cao. Do vậy là chị mong muốn rằng là rất là mong là khi các bạn đăng ký thi thì các bạn sẽ check email, đặc biệt là cái email mà ghi là subject là payment confirmation, thì ở phía dưới của nó sẽ có một cái banner, nó gọi là promoting banner, thì các bạn click vào đó và nó sẽ có hướng dẫn để đăng nhập vào khóa học này. Chị hy vọng là các bạn sẽ có thể tối ưu được và sử dụng thật là tốt cái khóa học này nhé. Ok. Bên cạnh đấy nữa thì các bạn sẽ có nhận được một cái bộ tài liệu gọi là IELTS Focus Study Guide. Và toàn bộ cái này thì nó sẽ bao gồm cả 4 kỹ năng cho mình. Nên là chị thì chị rất là thích cái bộ tài liệu IELTS Focus này, bởi vì nó rất là gần gũi và cái tài liệu của nó thực sự là rất là update so với cả cái đề thi của IDP. Chúng ta sẽ cùng xem thêm một chút nhé. Rồi, và như vậy thì bên cạnh bộ IELTS Focus này, bộ IELTS Preparation Course của Macquarie thì các bạn còn được nhận thêm một bộ tài liệu và IELTS Prepare nữa. Thì chị tin chắc chắn rằng là với toàn bộ cái tài liệu hỗ trợ học thuật toàn diện mà IDP cung cấp thì các bạn sẽ có một cái hành trình để đạt được đến cái bài thi IELTS của mình.
Are you IELTS ready? IELTS Prepare is your one-stop shop for official IDP IELTS preparation materials. It's easy to personalize your study experience with the world's best support team at your fingertips. We'll help you achieve your desired band score.
Rồi. Và bộ tài liệu này đặc biệt là chỉ dành cho thí sinh đăng ký thi thôi, bởi vì nó sẽ được generate tự động từ hệ thống ra cho các bạn, nên là mình sẽ khó có thể chia sẻ cái bộ tài liệu này cho các bạn khác được. Nên chị rất là hy vọng các bạn sẽ có thêm nhiều người bạn để có thể đăng ký cùng với mình. Và để đáp ứng cái nhu cầu đó thì các bạn sẽ thấy rằng là trong tháng 12 này IDP cung cấp cho các bạn rất là nhiều chương trình ưu đãi. Thứ nhất là các bạn có thể tham dự cái vòng quay may mắn khi mà mình đăng ký thi IELTS với IDP. Và một cái bật mí nho nhỏ là hiện nay là đã có khoảng 4 bạn là nhận được cái bộ chọn bộ 100% full cái lệ phí thi được back trở lại từ IDP rồi. Nên là chị nghĩ rằng là cái chương trình này sẽ rất là hấp dẫn với tất cả các bạn. Ngoài ra thì để hỗ trợ rất là nhiều bạn muốn book những cái ngày thi ở xa nhưng mà chi phí thì mình lại chưa muốn đóng hết, thì IDP hỗ trợ các bạn cái chương trình là đặt cọc. Các bạn có thể đặt cọc cái lệ phí thi của mình với 1,4 triệu và sau đấy các bạn sẽ đóng chọn phần còn lại sau khi mà các bạn 14 ngày trước ngày thi. Bên cạnh đấy nữa thì các bạn sẽ có một cái ưu đãi, đấy là chinh phục, nếu các bạn có thi lại IELTS để các bạn nâng cái band điểm của mình thì các bạn sẽ được nhận một cái ưu đãi gọi là chinh phục lần 2 nhân đôi ưu đãi. Và đặc biệt là với những bạn nào mà muốn đi thi cùng với bạn bè của mình thì mình sẽ có một cái chương trình là đăng ký càng đông và nhận quà càng lớn. Riêng với những bạn thí sinh ở tỉnh và muốn đăng ký thi IELTS với IDP thì các bạn có thể đăng ký với những đối tác chính thức của IDP. Và trong tháng 12 này, đặc biệt là với ngày thi 30 tháng 12 thì các bạn sẽ được tặng thêm một cái voucher quà tặng trị giá 100.000 đồng của GotIt. Và các bạn có thể dùng cái voucher này để có thể mua cà phê, trà sữa, đi taxi hay là đi siêu thị. Đó thì chị cũng rất là hy vọng là với tất cả những cái ưu đãi này, từ học thuật cho đến cái ưu đãi về mặt gọi là thương mại đi, thì các bạn sẽ rất là tự tin, và đặc biệt là có cho mình một cái sự chuẩn bị thật là kỹ để mình có thể thi được cái bài thi IELTS của mình. Rồi, và lịch thi về đăng ký thi thì chắc là ở đây tất cả các bạn đều biết rồi. Chúng ta có thể đăng ký trực tuyến tại website của IDP, hoặc là đến tại văn phòng của IDP, và đặc biệt là có thể đến với các đối tác của IDP. Có rất là nhiều bạn ở huyện Nam Từ Liêm, quận Nam Từ Liêm, Bắc Từ Liêm không thể đến được văn phòng của IDP tại quận Ba Đình và quận Hai Bà Trưng. Thì các bạn có thể đăng ký với những đối tác của IDP ở tại khu vực đó, và các bạn có thể lên website để có thể xem được danh sách đối tác nào của IDP ở gần nhà mình nhất, thì mình sẽ đến đó để mình đăng ký. Ok, và nếu mà các bạn cũng để ý thì trong cái tháng 11 vừa rồi thì IDP đã ra mắt cái kênh YouTube mới, và trên cái kênh YouTube này thì các bạn sẽ có những cái folder riêng, ví dụ như là IELTS Challenge, IELTS Tips, IELTS Expert Talk. Thì từ đây là các bạn có thể cập nhật được những cái thông tin mới nhất từ đơn vị khảo thí là IDP về tất cả các kỹ năng của bài thi. Rồi, và đặc biệt là đừng bao giờ đừng quên là follow cái fanpage của IDP để không bao giờ bị bỏ lỡ những cái thông tin mới nhất. Chị ví dụ như là nếu như mà kỳ thi thử ở tại văn phòng mà có mở lại thì cái đầu tiên mà bên chị sẽ thông báo đấy chính là trên fanpage, sau đó là sẽ đến gửi email cho các bạn học sinh, và sau đó thì sẽ update trên website của IDP. Thế nên là các bạn hãy follow fanpage của IDP, và at least là nếu mà chuẩn bị thi thì một ngày nên ghé thăm một lần để mà mình có thể có thêm thông tin update nhất từ IDP nhé. Rồi, và chị không còn để các bạn phải giờ lâu hơn với cái phần chia sẻ của thầy Cormac nữa, thì I would like to invite teacher Cormac for your speaking sharing with the student. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chị Hương, and hello everybody. So let me, I guess, let me share my screen now. Hương, I'll start sharing. Let me pin myself here. Oh, there I am. So hello everybody, and welcome to the speaking workshop that I will give you today. Now, before we start talking about the speaking, I noticed that a lot of you are doing the IELTS test very soon. Tomorrow, some people next week, or in 2 weeks. So I just want to give you a little advice about before the test. The first test, of course, is the listening test. And if you're doing the test tomorrow or next week, something that's very, very useful is the morning before the test. So when you get up to have your coffee or pho or bánh mì chưng or whatever breakfast you're going to have, you should really try to listen to English somehow, okay? Maybe listening to YouTube or a podcast or some videos, anything, okay? Doesn't have to be an IELTS practice, okay? Just anything in English, just to warm up your mind and your ears, okay? In the listening test, as you know, section 1 is the easiest part. So you don't want to be warming up when you arrive to the test, okay? So first tip here I have for your test is to warm up in the morning. Listen to English, speak English if you can, but yeah, warm up before the test that morning. Second tip I have is for your speaking test, a similar tip is before you go to the speaking test, okay, for an hour or 2 hours, same thing. You must try to connect with English, okay? Listening again to YouTube, speaking with your friends, your family, your neighbors if they speak English. Anybody who speaks English is good enough, okay? You want to warm up. It's just like thể thao, just like sport, okay? You warm up before the football match, okay? You don't warm up during the match, okay? So make sure you warm up. Another general tip is don't study late the night before, okay? I'm sure you know this, but get some good sleep, okay? Don't drink too much of your beautiful Vietnamese coffee before the test, and maybe eat breakfast more than 1 hour before. So if the test starts at 9, don't eat breakfast at 8:30, okay? Eat before 8. It's just some small things that might help you. Okay, guys, so today we're going to focus on speaking. And what we will focus on during the workshop are a few things, okay? The first thing are the speaking descriptors. And we will look at each of these. These are the things the examiner uses to calculate your score, okay? So they're very important. We're going to look at each. We'll look at some problems that candidates have and solutions to those problems. We'll look at some videos with examples. I'll give you some tips how to improve quickly, because I know you're doing the test soon, and some more tips and strategies to help you in the test. Also, we'll look at how to develop and expand your ideas. This is very important during the test and really can help you move from 5.5 to 6.5, or 6 to 6.5, or 6.5 to 7. Developing and expanding your ideas. And like I said, this workshop is not teaching you English, okay? It's teaching you or helping you how to perform better in the test. And then hopefully for about 20 minutes at the end, in the question and answer box, or maybe 25 minutes, seeing as your test is soon, we will take questions from you, and I will give feedback to your questions. Also, guys, I will ask you questions during the workshop, so please answer the questions in the chat box. And I think IDP has some special gifts, muốn quà, for the about 10 students who answer my questions correctly in the chat. So let's participate, let's work together, and let's begin. Of course, you know the structure. 3 parts, 1, 2, 3. About 14 minutes, okay? Something that you should know is that part 1 is really designed to help you begin, to help you relax, okay? So my first tip today, and I will repeat this tip later, is in part 1, you will be nervous, okay? It's a bit strange, right? It's a little strange. New person, strange environment, pressure. So my first tip is don't try too hard in part 1. Don't try to use complex, difficult English and idioms and, you know, complicated language, okay? Just sit down, greet the examiner, give your identification. The examiner will begin with some easy questions about you, about your life, about your hometown, maybe. So just relax and answer them naturally. Okay, normally, bình thường. Don't try difficult English, because you might make some mistakes and then you get nervous and you feel stress. So part one, just relax, speak naturally, and then you will feel more confident. You will relax, okay? Part 2 and 3, we will see some tips on those later. However, the first part of today are the speaking band descriptors. So my first question for you, can you tell me a descriptor? So there are 4. There are 4 speaking descriptors, and these will be used by the examiner to calculate your score. So in the chat box, can you tell me, what are the speaking descriptors? What 4 things do the examiners use to calculate your score? Okay, thank you. Wow, some very fast, very fast. Okay. Okay, thank you, Phương Anh. Thank you, Phương Nguyên. Thank you, Phúc. Thank you, Ling. Thank you, Chinh. And Ngũ. Thúy, cảm ơn. Thum, cảm ơn. Khỏe. Ha. Okay, guys, so a lot of answers coming in. Thank you very much. And Dang and Ha. Okay, so you guys, you clearly, you know a lot about IELTS. That's good. Okay, that will help me. Thank you, Anh Duy. Thank you, Tang. Okay, so most people, chính xác, perfect. Okay, the 4 speaking descriptors, as we know, are grammar, pronunciation, coherence and cohesion, and vocabulary or lexical resource. But that's basically vocabulary. So we can see them here. And guys, first thing about this is they are all equal. 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. Okay, 25% each. So a lot of students, they focus on grammar and vocab, but don't forget pronunciation and fluency and coherence are 50% of your score. So all 4 are equal. So let's begin with fluency and coherence. What does this mean for you in your test? Well, fluency means, can you continue speaking? Okay. Do you pause too much? Can you correct yourself? So for example, I'm learning Vietnamese and fluency is my main problem. I can speak for 3 or 4 or 5 sentences and then I maybe don't have a word. So fluency is continuing. Most important thing in the IELTS test is to speak, of course, okay? Tất nhiên. But continuing speaking, okay? Don't stress about making mistakes, okay? You will make mistakes. Accept that will happen, okay? You will make mistakes and that's normal, but just keep speaking, continue speaking, okay? Show the examiner what you have. That's what they want. Coherence means do your ideas connect together? Is there a logic to your ideas? Okay. Are they organized well? Again, this is natural. Okay. So don't stress too much about the order. Okay. Like I said, continue speaking. Now let's look at some problems. Hopefully these can help you in your test. The first thing I see quite often are students or candidates who try to speak very quickly. Excuse me. This will not give you a high fluency score, okay? Fluency is not about speed, okay? I'm speaking now quite smoothly, okay, because I'm speaking to a large group and I want to be clear, but I'm still speaking fluently, even though I'm not speaking very fast. So don't think fast speaking will help you. Actually, to be honest, for most students, speaking fast is affects their grammar, it affects their vocab, and affects their ideas negatively. When they speak very fast, they often make more mistakes, and also they can't develop and think about their ideas. So don't worry about speed. Okay, maybe not too slow. Okay, maybe not too slow. But like, don't worry. Speak normal speed clearly, and we'll see a video later about this. Okay. Next problem I see, a next tip is IELTS is not testing your ideas, okay? It's not testing how creative you are or how intelligent you are about, you know, the environment or sport or politics or education, okay? The examiner is not interested in your idea. He or she is interested in how you communicate, okay? So if you have a difficult question and you think, oh my God, well, I don't want to sound stupid, you know, maybe my idea is not good. No, come out, okay, no problem. Just speak. If your idea is silly, doesn't matter. If it's crazy, doesn't matter. If it's about the topic and you speak, it's okay. So focus on your speaking. Also, if you don't know a lot about a topic, in part 3, okay, part 2 you will know, because part 2 asks about your experience. But maybe in part 3 they ask you a question about a topic you don't know. That's okay. You can say, well, actually, I don't know a lot about that particular topic. I don't know a lot about that. My interests are a little different. You could say something like, oh, my father is very interested, or my mother knows a lot about that, or I know there is something in my hometown about that, but I'm not sure myself. I'm not interested in it. Don't be afraid, okay? Remember, it's a conversation. It's a conversation in part 1 and part 3, especially part 3. So don't be afraid if you have a silly idea, crazy idea, or if you don't know. Now, another problem here, and this is a major problem for a lot of students, especially around the score 5.5. In part 2, okay, of course, we have a topic card, okay? You have 4 questions. Tell me about a holiday you went on. Where did you go? Who did you go with? What did you do? And tell me why you enjoyed it. Okay. Yes, you must answer those questions. Okay. However, when you prepare, when you have 1 minute to prepare, don't be afraid to add questions. When did you go? Why did you choose that place? How did you go there? By train, bus, plane? Okay. This will help you talk more. Okay. As you know, part 2 is 1 to 2 minutes. Sometimes it's difficult to get to 2 minutes, but you should ask yourself more questions. Tell a personal story. Talk about the past, the present. Oh, I went there before. Hopefully I will go there again. Give your opinions. Okay, introduce it. Holidays. I love going on holidays. It's my favorite time of the year. I love it because examples. Okay. So guys, when you make your notes for 1 minute, keywords, just write keywords. Do not write sentences on your paper when you make your notes, just keywords. Okay. Next. Another problem I mentioned before, a lot of students, candidates, focus a lot on grammar and vocab because they have problems with grammar and vocabulary. But remember, it's only 50% of your score. Of course, it's important. We need grammar, we need vocabulary to speak. However, if you focus too much on using the correct grammar and using difficult vocabulary or difficult words, what happens is your fluency will slow down. You will slow down. Okay? So I just want you to remember that you should feel confident. You know what you know. Okay? The speaking test is not only examining grammar and vocab. Okay? It's a conversation. Pronunciation is very important. Fluency is also very important. Okay? Another part that I see, now maybe a little late for some of you guys, but like I said, pronunciation and fluency are 50%. So practice makes perfect. Okay. Luckily for me, khi học tiếng Việt, when I learn Vietnamese, trên đường, right? I practice every day because I live in Vietnam. So I have 95 million teachers here. However, practice is so important that even if, you know, your classmates or your colleagues at work or your family or your neighbors, even if they only have a little English, if they want to practice, you should practice with them. And sometimes people say, oh, well, if I practice with them, maybe I will make mistakes because their English is not good. No, practice is practice. Okay. Practicing with other language learners is very, very useful. Okay. You will notice their mistakes. They will notice your mistakes. That is developing language knowledge. Okay. It's helping your listening. It's helping your speaking. Okay. So YouTube, social media is a good resource. Also, video games can be quite useful as a way to listen to English speakers. to copy pronunciation, to chat. So however way you can find, but don't only speak English in the test and in your class, okay? You have to practice every day a little. Okay, every day a little. Now, another problem with fluency. So guys, all these problems are about fluency and coherence. So some students, some candidates think, oh no, I paused, I hesitated. Okay. It's normal to do this sometimes. Okay. So guys, what I want you to do is in the chat box, ask me a difficult question about my life in Vietnam. Polite questions only, please. Okay. So in the chat box, let's see, ask me a question about my life here in your beautiful country, and I will answer. And I want to show you something. Hey, có vợ chưa? Okay, có rồi. But ask me in English, guys. Okay, thank you, Phong Anh. Thank you, Thuy. Hạnh, tiếng Anh Hạnh. Okay, Chris. Bao Nguyen, thank you. Phương Doan, Văn Nguyen. What is my wife's nationality? How's the traffic? Okay. Nap Tien, how do I feel about Vietnamese people? Wow. Nu Ding Thi, can you describe my country in one word? Wow. Okay, what's your favorite place in Vietnam? Van, what tourist attraction? Nap Tien, how do you feel about Vietnamese people? Hoa Thai, is it difficult for you during COVID-19? Okay, I think I will answer that question. So many good questions, guys. Thank you. I would love to answer all. Language barrier again. Dung, can you distinguish Vietnamese's accent? I can. Some địa phương miền Nam, miền Bắc, miền Trung. I can distinguish them. Sometimes. Okay, so guys, I'm going to answer one question from Hoa Thai. Is it difficult? Yeah, Hoa Thai. Is it difficult for you during COVID-19 in Vietnam? Good question, Hoa. So it has been difficult for everybody during COVID, globally in the world. But I guess it's a little different as a foreigner here. My family are very far away in Ireland. I'm from Ireland, not England, Ireland. So I haven't seen my family, my parents, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my old friends for 3 years almost. So that's difficult. I will say I felt very safe in Vietnam. I thought the government did a very good job. Also the doctors, the nurses, the army, the police, everyone, and the community, the community, everyone did a very good job. I felt safe here. Now I have 2 vaccines, so I feel very grateful to Vietnam for the vaccines and for working hard to protect me and my wife. So it's been unusual, but okay, no problem really. Just miss my family, that's all, and friends. So guys, you can see during my answer, did I hesitate? Did I pause? Yes or no? In the chat box. Did I pause? Did I hesitate? Yes. Okay, good, Dung. Thank you. Van, Thiên, Hạnh, Ha, Pham. Okay. Thank you, Hang. I did hesitate. So guys, it's normal. Don't worry. However, you don't want to pause too much. Okay, but don't worry when you pause. It's okay. And thank you for your questions. Very interesting. And yeah, thank you, Vietnam. Not using linking words. Okay, guys, I want you to look at this example on the screen. Okay, and in the chat box, I want you to tell me what is the problem with this example. Tell me about your education. I started school at 5 years old. I went to secondary school when I was 12. I left that school at 18. I went to university for 3 years. So guys, what's the problem here? Very good. No. Okay. Now, Nam Phung Chan, the coherence is okay. It makes sense. Coherence means, does it make sense? Yeah, no linking words. Yo says 9157728. Okay. No signposts. Yeah, okay, Tom. Firstly, secondly, after that. Yeah. Simple sentences, Zuong says. Yeah. And only simple sentences. Very good. So everybody knows. So you can see here, guys, these are all simple sentences. So how can you change simple to complex? You use a linking word. That's simple. Now, someone said signposts or time markers. Yes. How can we improve it? Well, firstly, I started school at 5. Then, however, after that, where, in addition. These words, guys, these linking words in the writing test and in the speaking test are very important, okay? So understand them and use them, okay? Now, guys, some simple sentences are okay. You don't need every sentence to have a linking word. We don't need every sentence to be difficult or long, okay? Now, let's just have a look at a quick video here. Let me just make sure I'm sharing sound. So guys, we're going to look at a quick video. And I want you to watch this first candidate. And I want you to tell me in the chat box what problems he has, okay? And also think about what good things he has. So now we are the examiner, okay? Me and you, we are the examiner. So let's watch this this gentleman. Now this guy, I think he got a 6 in the speaking, okay?
What's the balance between leisure and work in your country?
You see, it's when we speak about, for example, Moscow. Of course, in Moscow, people usually work long hours, really, and they overwork maybe sometimes. But on the other side, they had a lot of possibilities to a lot of entertainment. There are a lot of casinos, for example, shows, cinemas, and everything.
Do you think this will change in the future?
I'm not sure that it will change in nearest future. I think the schedule of work will be even harder, stronger, harder, tougher.
Okay, guys, before I show you that, so tell me, let's see in the chat box. Good vocab and ideas, yeah. Paused a lot, yeah, a lot of pausing. Okay, let me look at your other answers here. Not fluent, yeah. Now, guys, we're just talking about fluency. Yeah, he did pause quite a lot. looks not confident, không sao, okay? You don't have to look confident. Hesitation, short sentences, good. Yeah, long answers. Yeah, his answers were long. But yeah, a lot of hesitation. Now, guys, let me give you a tip. I feel like when this question arrived, okay, he didn't think about his answer for a few seconds. Okay, let's watch. He just started speaking immediately. Let's have a look.
Between leisure and work in your country.
You see, it's when we speak about.
You can see here he's not saying anything yet because he's still thinking. He's thinking about his answer.
For example, Moscow. Of course, in Moscow, people.
For example, Moscow. Okay. So one tip I can give you is in part 3, if you get a difficult question, okay, give yourself some time to think. Say, oh, that's an interesting question. Let me see. Or, oh, that's an interesting question. I haven't thought about that before. When you say that for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, you're giving your brain some time to think. Okay. Also, he hesitated and he didn't really address the topic. He started talking about casinos and entertainment and a lot of kind of, you know, other types of things. Okay. Like I said, you can see here some hesitation, repetition. He can keep talking though. That was a good skill. He kept talking, he kept trying. But yeah, not relevant. Okay. The question was about the balance between work and leisure. Okay. Now, guys, let's look at another. So always remember to answer the question relevantly. Then you can extend, but probably the examiner will stop you and ask another question. And we will talk about the examiner interrupting you later, okay? Interrupting means stopping you. Let's look at another student, guys, another candidate.
What is the balance between leisure and work?
So, same question. Now, I want you to tell me in the chat box, why is this candidate better in fluency and coherence than better than the previous candidate?
Like in your country?
I think people work too much. Okay, more than the leisure.
Why do you think that? Why do you think people work too much?
I think because I think salaries are not that high and people need to work a lot to provide themselves, I think. And also, I think, on the other hand, professional people just want to go higher in the job ladder. So they work
on the other side, they had
a lot to provide themselves, I think. And also,
okay, I'm not sure what's happening, guys. For some reason the video is pausing. Let me just flick it on. Okay.
I think, on the other hand, professional people just want to go higher in the job ladder.
So do you think this will change in the future, or will it always be like this?
I think it's changing now. People realize that you can be productive without staying all day.
Okay, guys, so you can see here in the chat box, Kwon says, thinking before answering and linking words and relevant ideas. So Kwon, very good answer. And I see other people here answering. He did hesitate a little, Dang. He said, but that's okay. He gave himself time to think. Van says, coming up with the ideas. Tom says, didn't get off topic. Now, guys, let's listen to his speed. Okay, remember I spoke about speed before. Let's listen to his speed.
So, I think, on the other hand, professional people just want to go higher in the job ladder.
So you can hear he's not speaking too fast and not too slow. He's giving himself time to think. Van says he speaks at length. He does. But very important at this, and yeah, Namfung Chan says he's speaking clearly. Very good. So guys, that's fluency and coherence. It's about continuing to talk, linking your ideas, and not pausing too much. But remember, some pausing is okay. Let's move on to the second vocab. Now guys, you can see here, don't forget, with vocab, there are two parts to your score. The first is using, you can see down here. The first is range. How many words do you have? Bao nhiêu từ, right? But also accuracy. Can you use those words correctly at the right time? Okay, range and accuracy. You don't need super difficult rare words. Okay, let's look at some issues. So, paraphrasing, synonyms, antonyms. Okay, don't worry too much about repeating, but if you know synonyms, show it. Show the examiner what you know. So let's look at the bottom, guys. In the chat box, tell me, what synonyms do you know for advantages and disadvantages? Let's see in the chat box. Advantages and disadvantages. Okay, Hiểu says pros and cons, and Dang, pros and cons. Benefits and drawbacks, yeah. Positive and negative impacts, no. Downside and upsides, obstacles, upsides and downsides, merits and drawbacks. Very good. I can't see the names. Okay, I'm seeing a lot here. Some of these are okay. Some of these I'm not sure about. Negatives and positives, yeah. Pros and cons. Okay, guys. Beneficial and harmful are adjectives, okay? Stumbling blocks, no. Stumbling blocks are barriers or things that stop something happening. Bing Chen, setbacks, no. Setback is when something bad happens that delays you. So guys, let me give you some. Advantages, disadvantages, pros and cons, benefits and drawbacks. Only those. Negative points, positive points or positives and negatives, negative points. Another, pluses. I'll write this one in the chat box for you. Pluses and minuses. Let me just go through the chat here. I'm seeing a lot of different. Okay, merits and demerits. No, don't use this one, guys. I see this a lot. I think people have got this in the dictionary or in the thesaurus. Doesn't work in most situations. Merits, okay, merits is pretty close. Demerits, no. Let's have a look at some other ones here. Pros and cons, yeah, of course. Upsides and downsides, yes. Merits and drawbacks, no. Benefits and drawbacks, these come as a pair. They come together. Positives and negatives, good. For and against, maybe. reasons for, reasons against, but it's not a noun. Setbacks, no. Perks, no. So guys, be very careful with your synonyms. Downsides, yeah. Criticism, no. Black and white, no. Black and white, no. That's an idiom. It's not black and white, means it's not clear. Pluses and minuses, very good. So guys, let's move on. Benefits and drawbacks. Thank you, Wing. Now, next point. If you want to score high on vocab, like 7, 8, or 9, you don't need super rare vocabulary, okay? Less common. You do need less common. However, this means less common for you, less common for language learners, not less common for me, okay? You don't need super rare, unusual words. Tang, correct. Okay, Tang, yeah, đúng rồi. Have a look in the chat box, guys. I'm just going to write a word now. And I heard a student use this word last week. Sorry, a candidate. I heard a candidate use this word last week. This is an adverb. Hopefully you can all see that. Yeah, you can. It's an adverb. Now, this candidate tried to use this word, very uncommon, not a common word, and she used it incorrectly. And I feel like she really wanted to use this big word. Now, let me give you a clue. If you don't know this word, you don't need this word, okay? So when, let me see. Okay, I like to watch a movie and eat snacks contemporaneously. So I want you to guess in the chat box. I like to watch movies and eat snacks contemporaneously. What does that mean, do you think? Tell me in the chat box. I like to watch movies and eat snacks contemporaneously. Okay, very good. At the same time. Immediately, no. Immediately is ngayon. Okay. So guys, I'm seeing in the chat box, not a lot, no. Contemporaneously means at the same time. Eat snacks, watch movie at the same time. And I'm seeing in the chat box, a lot of people are using this word, which I will write now. Simultaneously. Excellent. So what I'm trying to show you is simultaneously is less common for you, for second language learners. Contemporaneously, crazy word, is less common for English native speakers. Nobody says that word. Never. We say at the same time or simultaneously. It's more like written English, but you can say it, you can speak, you can say that word. Or you can say do while. Yeah, I like to eat snacks while watching movies. Okay, good. Paraphrasing. So don't focus on these big words, these rare, unusual words. Number one, probably you will use it incorrectly. And number two, it will slow your fluency down. Okay, it will slow you down. Now, before I look at some problems, guys, something I want to ask you in the chat. I want you to flabbergasted. Bing Chan says, simultaneously. Nam Fung Chan, simultaneously. So stress on syllable 3, simultaneously. You're welcome. Flabbergasted, yes. People, that is less common, very uncommon. Guys, I want you to look in the chat box. I will take your questions later, okay, in about half an hour. Look in the chat box, guys. Here is a score for one student, okay? Grammar, a lot of problems with grammar, 5. Vocabulary, not bad, 6. Fluency and coherence, excellent. Fluency and coherence, well, pretty good, 6. But great pronunciation, 7. Guys, you receive a score for each. What score will this student receive in the speaking test? Who's good at maths? Let me just check that one myself. Okay. So it was grammar 5, vocab 6, fluency coherence 6, pronunciation 7. So 13, 19, 24, correct. They will receive a 6. So guys, remember, each part is equal, okay? Maybe, no, it's 6, tingsak, sao, okay? 24 over 6, sorry, 24 over 4 is 6. So remember, each part is important. If you are weak in grammar and you're worried, lolang nyo, okay, don't worry. It's too late now. Your test is next week or tomorrow, okay? Every part is important, not only grammar, not only vocab. Okay, let's look at some problems. The first problem is using vocab you're not sure about, like contemporaneously for that candidate last week. My tip is, if you understand everything about the word, the meaning, the tiếng Việt, the grammar, the locations, the synonyms, the opposites, antonym is opposite, and how you use it. Okay. If you're learning difficult words and you're not sure how to use them, probably shouldn't. You can see at the bottom, using simpler vocab with no mistakes is better than using a lot of difficult words incorrectly, okay? Second problem is range. Now, if you're doing your test soon, probably a little late to be learning new words. What I would advise you is, if you have a notebook like this, I have a notebook here, yeah. You should, with vocabulary that you've learned before, okay, you should look now at vocab and words you learned before. It's probably too late if your test is next week or 10 days to be learning a lot of new vocab. Revise, look again at the words you know. Okay, you can see here I have a list of Vietnamese words. Okay, once a week, once a month, I revise. Every day I add a new word, 2 words that I hear on the street, and every week I look at it. But remember, it's probably too late to be adding a lot of new vocab. Okay, so revise what you know, revise what you learned so far. Guys, next point, idioms, okay? A lot of candidates ask about this. It's a very difficult question. However, idioms are okay in the speaking test, never, never in the writing test, okay? Never, only speaking. Now, should you use them? Well, let's do an experiment. Let's do an experiment. In the chat box, I want you to write an idiom for me. Any idiom. And I will see how many are correct and how many are incorrect. Okay, land, down in the dump, over the moon, under the weather, have a whale of time, quick on the uptake, flying color, have a blast, cost an arm and a leg, elephant in the trunk, in the brown study, cats and dogs. What? Cats and dogs? come down in torrents like the back of my hand. Okay, that's a good one. Not my cup of tea. Excuse me. Hot on the collar, as easy as pie, a piece of cake, tighten the belt, over the moon. Okay. Potato couch, Saizoi, couch potato. The best and the brightest, an elephant in the room, sit on the fence. Okay, so guys, I can tell you now, thank you, to each their own. No, it's each to their own, not to each their own. Have a soft spot. Okay, that's enough. Thank you guys. Kadu, come on, mọi người. Put me feet up. No, put my feet up. So you can see, guys, a lot of you guys, you know idioms, right? But in 50% of those, there was a small mistake, okay? Like a word order or something like that. Also, guys, idioms, for me, you should just know a few, very few, 4 or 5, but you should know everything about them. Let me look here. You need to know a lot of, you need to know everything about the idioms. You don't need lots, okay? Learning lots of idioms will not give you a high vocab score because normally people don't use them correctly. People say Hanoi is, people say what? Hanoi is hustling and bustling. Saizoi. Not correct. You have to say there is a lot of hustle and bustle in Hanoi, or I like the hustle and bustle of Hanoi. How do we do this? How do we know? Well, I use the same rule for the vocab. You must know it 100%. Okay, just know a few. Now, guys, something that's more important than raining cats and dogs or out of the blue, over the moon. Okay, something that's more important is idiomatic language. People forget about this. So let's look at an example here, guys. Let's look at an example. What do I mean by idiomatic language? Idiomatic is an adjective. So let's look at some examples of speaking answers. What's the problem? Oh, yeah, it won't let me pause. That's very kind. Okay. All right, guys. Okay, so clearly it's too short, of course. Now, let's look at this other answer. Now, I like many kinds of food, but I'm particularly keen on sushi. Guys, which words are idiomatic there? Which words in that sentence? Two words are idiomatic. Let's see in the chat box. Very good chat box today, guys. Yes, very good. NΑNG, vân, rồi, hiền, ha, hang, who. Thank you too. Lots of has in the class today, or in the workshop. Zuong, thank you, Zuong. So guys, yeah, very good. Keen on, guys, that is idiomatic language. Okay, hang around. Keen on. I'm into football. So it's not all about raining cats and dogs. Idiomatic language is natural style language. Like I said, if you don't know it now, don't worry. You probably do know it, okay? You probably do know it. Oh, Kina, yeah. Let's look at another example. So, which sports are popular? It's just a list, okay? We don't want to list things. We always develop our answers. Keep talking, develop. So you can see here the idiomatic language. People are into, interested in. Okay. Good style. Sorry. I'm using a PC today. It's a little tricky. Now, guys, look at this question. Tell me the problem in the chat box. What's the problem with this answer? We are the examiner, me and you, or you and I. What's the problem? Okay, let's look in the chat. Yeah, it's a short answer. Yeah, on the weekends is okay. Okay, yeah, Namfung Chan. Correct, guys. Very good, Tom. Guys, the main problem here, very good, Zung. The preposition is okay, Fungan. You can say on the weekend or at the weekend. Kim Ngan says no paraphrasing. Dumzoi. Tui says usually on the weekends. Yeah, so the grammar is okay, guys. The vocab is okay, but they're repeating the vocab. What do you usually do? Tung Lam, I usually. Now, we can say something else. What words can we use for usually? Can we use a different word? Not usually. Often, yeah, often is good. Regularly, generally, frequently, yeah. From time to time is a little less regular. Normally, right? Bing Tuong, normally. So yeah, you're all correct. Normally, occasionally, no. Occasionally means not often. Always, too strong. Always is luan. Mostly, yeah. Mostly is okay. So we can see more idiomatic language here. Hang out. Okay. Spend time. That's idiomatic. Okay. So guys, don't focus on idioms too much. Okay. My advice, know a few. Just know a few of those, like, you know, artistic idioms like over the moon and up to my eyes, out of the blue. They're okay. They're useful, but don't just learn them. Don't memorize them, okay? They won't sound natural. They'll sound weird, okay? Okay, moving on a little bit more fast now because I want to get questions done. So I'm going to do grammar a little bit faster and then pronunciation, okay? So guys, grammar score is all about complex and simple sentences. Now, we talked about this already. What does complex mean? Ha? Hokan? No. Complex means two simple sentences together, connected, using linking words. And here you can see two examples. I live with a friend I met at university. I live with a friend who I met. On my last holiday, I went to Brighton. Two simple sentences. It's a town by the sea. So link your sentences with your relative clauses. Who, where, when, why, how, all those, okay? Cause, however, okay? So that's what that means, guys. You can see here, band 6, complex and simple. Band 7, more complex than simple. Band 8, a lot of complex sentences. Not difficult, just linked together. None of these say you only use complex. So don't stress, I have to link every sentence. No, relax and speak, okay? You will use them naturally, okay? Some problems with grammar. Like vocab, if you don't know it, don't use it, okay? Don't experiment in the test with something you learned last night, okay? Same as the vocab, same as the idioms. Only use grammar that you understand, okay? It's better to use correct, simple grammar like future simple, past simple, continuous tenses, than trying the past perfect with the conditional that you learned yesterday that you haven't practiced in speaking. Okay. So here we go, guys. The top mistakes in Vietnam. Okay, these four. These are the top four. I go, you go, he go. Okay. Tôi đi, bạn đi, MAD, TAD, co-AD. Okay, in Vietnamese, of course, it's the same, but we must not forget he, she, it, present simple is different. I go, you go, he goes. Okay. I love, you love, it loves. Plurals, also another problem in Vietnam. Again, I respect everyone who speaks another language. Okay, I'm just looking at the problems. You know, một con chó, hai con chó, ba con chó. Okay, một người, hai người. We must use the plural in English. Tenses are the biggest grammar problem. So when they ask you a question in the test, okay, when did you go on your last holiday? I went. I saw. I ate. I drank. Stay in the tense of the question. Okay, so listen closely to the question, and in your head think, okay, that's past. I'm speaking in past. If you make a mistake, correct yourself. Oh, when we went to Da Nang, I see many beautiful things. Oh, sorry, I saw many beautiful things. You can correct yourself. It's very good. The examiner likes it. It shows your ability. Word form, of course, is adjective. Now, let's look at a few examples here very quickly, guys. Those are the top four. Up here. Now, just do these by yourself, okay, in your own mind. We can't go through all of them. So, I went, of course. My parents like dancing. That's word form. I have 2 dictionaries, of course. Plural. Chan or Chun, I'm not sure, should have mu, is an independent. Very good. Some answers in the chat box. You don't have to send me the answers, guys, but if you want, you can. I'm looking at them. Independent. Now, can I? Rất phổ biến ở Việt Nam. Hôm qua em đi đâu? Hôm qua em đi đâu? So, of course, where did you go yesterday? Where did you go? Question word at the start. You know all of these already, but I'm just showing you these are the common ones in Vietnam. I talked to, very good, in the chat box. Okay, thank you, guys. I talked to her. Now, this one, very, very common in Vietnam. Car review, of course. Very good. Your car. Now, how about this last one, guys? This one is pretty difficult, I have to say. We have to help us. Oh, very good. Very good, Zuang. Very good, Hang. Ourselves, not them. Not them. Us. We have to help ourselves. Ourselves. Very good. So, guys, like I said, though, these 4 at the top, these are the big ones. Okay? These 4, and especially these 2. If your test is coming up soon, I want you to practice when you speak. Talk about someone else, he, she. Use the plurals. Test yourself. Record yourself. Okay, good tip. Record yourself speaking, like a part 2. Find a part 2 online. Record yourself speaking. Listen for your mistakes. You will find these mistakes for sure. If you remove these 4, your score will be very, very high. Most students make these mistakes, these 4. Don't worry too much about the, an, the articles. They're very difficult. If you're at a very high level, like 8.5, okay, you can worry about them now. But it's the most difficult thing in English, okay? So don't get too stressed about it. Like I said, record yourself, okay? Listen back. This can actually really help you. It will help your understanding of your own weaknesses. You will hear mistakes, okay? If you make a mistake, like I said, correct yourself. Okay, I'm student at CHUYên. I'm student at Academy of Finance. Sorry, I'm a student. You can correct yourself. And also, guys, something too is don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, it's amazing. You can speak another language. If you can speak English at IELTS 5, score 5, you can go anywhere in the world. Okay, you can travel anywhere in the world now. It's amazing. Well done. So I know you're under pressure, but you know, be soft on yourself. Okay, I'm not sure if we have time for this. Okay, now guys, this video is on the IDP website. Okay, I want to answer your questions this morning. Not yet, so I won't play this video today. However, you can find this video on the IDP website, sorry, the IDP YouTube channel, which you can find at a link at the end of the workshop. Watch these videos, okay?
All right, Tina.
We won't watch this now, but this lady is from Vietnam.
And a bit needs to spend time with my family or friends, or especially I want to do volunteers.
So you can watch these videos, and these videos will help you see and hear the mistakes people make. Okay, all on the IDP YouTube. Moving on quickly, we've only 10-15 minutes, and I want to take questions then. Pronunciation is 25% of your score. Okay, it affects your fluency. Like vocab, there are two parts to pronunciation. Range, which means can you make a lot of different sounds, and accuracy, can you make those sounds accurately. Also, guys, intonation is very important. We'll speak about that in 1 minute. Rất là quan trọng đây, không phải có dòng địa phương Mỹ hoặc nước Anh. Okay, you don't need an accent from America or Britain or Australia or Ireland. My beautiful accent. You don't need it. Speak English in your normal, beautiful Vietnamese accent, and yes, pronounce the words correctly, but you don't need a British or American accent. Don't worry about that. Okay. So guys, like I said, 3 parts: range, accuracy, and intonation. Also, guys, this same video is available on IDP's website. Okay, you will hear, not today, but you can hear which sounds this lady makes incorrectly. I think she scored a 5.5 overall. Very good speaker, but watching videos and listening to the recording of yourself will help you notice more about your own speaking and about other students. Okay. Now, second problem here is intonation. Okay. Let me read this sentence. Another common problem is using little or no intonation. This makes it sound like a robot, like you have no emotion and are not interested. Oh, grammar mistake in my slide. Are not interested. Guys, IELTS test, maybe you think it's a bit boring or you're not interested, but you need intonation. Intonation is going up and going down. It's emotion in your voice. Okay, it's part of pronunciation and it affects your score. If you talk like this and you talk at the same tone for all of the tests, your pronunciation score will decrease. So if you have zao, zao, zao ngang, right, the flat tone in Vietnamese, if you don't use zao sak, if you don't have tone, your pronunciation score will go down. So try to be, you know, a little emotional in the test. Put some feeling, okay, into the words. Now, guys, don't worry too much about stress. If your IELTS test is very soon, it's too late to be worrying about which words do I stress, which syllables do I stress. This is only something you get with practice and listening to native speakers. Okay, listening to native speakers. The only tip I can give you here is in every sentence, every, you hear me? I'm stressing every. In every sentence, the most important word is stressed. In every sentence. That's a good tip to help you. So you might say, I like bánh mì chưng, but I love bún chả, okay? I love is stressed. Again, this is a small point. So if you're testing soon, don't worry too much about the stress. Now, something I do want to cover before the questions is this. How to develop your ideas. This is a key part of improving your score. Maybe you get a topic that's not easy. Okay, you don't have a lot to say. Maybe you're nervous or stressed. Here's some tips on how to improve it. Like I said, during your 1 minute, add some extra questions in your mind. Write some extra keywords. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. Okay, you can expand the topic. Also, guys, a story or an example is a very good way to expand. Okay, connected to the topic, however, still personal. You might get a very difficult topic, like, can you tell me the effect on the economy of Vietnam of COVID-19? Difficult question. But you can say, well, the economy has been affected by COVID-19. For example, I don't know much about economics, but in my hometown, a lot of people lost their jobs. For example, my cousin works in, works in a restaurant, and the restaurant was closed for 3 months. So he had no salary, and now he's just living with my aunt and my uncle, and just helping with their, farm or whatever. It doesn't have to be true, okay? Remember, it's not a test of ideas. It's not a test of truth. It's a communication, conversation, speaking test. When you do this, when you give an example from your life, it helps you talk faster and think faster, because you know already. You don't have to think too much. You're talking about your life, so better fluency. Also, it will improve your intonation. When we talk about our lives, our experiences, we talk with more feeling, and more feeling gives more intonation. Okay. So guys, I have one more point after this, and then I'm going to take some questions. However, before that, some final tips here. Remember, don't only prioritize grammar, okay? Fluency, pronunciation, and vocab are all equally important. Try to speak some English every day. If you don't understand the question, ask the examiner to repeat it, or often the examiner will paraphrase the question. If you don't understand one word, you can ask them to explain the word. You can't ask them to explain the whole sentence, but normally the examiner will rephrase, will paraphrase the question to help you. Remember, the examiner is not your enemy. The examiner is trying to pull the language out of you. They want to hear your language, okay? Correct your mistakes. They won't help you that much, okay? But they will help you a little. Don't be late, okay? You don't need stress, okay? Don't worry about your accent. Never memorize answers. The examiners will know, because normally memorized answers have no intonation. They don't sound natural. Don't worry about the examiner's opinion. They don't care. They don't have to agree with you or disagree. And the final tip for your speaking test is, for 24 hours, try to talk and connect with English as much as possible, especially the day of the exam, but the day before also, if possible. So you have to warm up before the test. Don't warm up in part one, okay? Warm up before. Speak to anybody that speaks English. If you don't know anyone, listen to YouTube, speak yourself, record yourself, okay? Okay, guys, one other quick thing I just want to look at before I take questions is interruptions. So when the examiner stops you from talking. So let's just watch a very quick video about this to explain.
Hi everyone, my name is Jess and I'm here with IELTS expert Don from IDP. We're here to answer some of the questions that you asked about the IELTS test. So I've heard that examiners can actually interrupt sometimes during a sentence. Why is that?
Well, in the speaking test, the examiner may do that. They won't do it often. Each speaking test is limited by a certain time limit, which is 14 minutes. And that's the purpose of that, of course, is that every test taker gets a standard test. We all like to talk, and if we talk at length, that's a good sign, because the purpose of the examiner asking questions is to get a good sample of your language that they can assess. If they interrupt before you finish your answer, that's probably a good sign, because it means you're giving an extended answer. So don't worry too much about that. If you are asked to explain or elaborate or extend your answer, that's solely for the purpose of the examiner getting more information about your language ability. And by the way, a test taker can ask the examiner a question too for clarification if needed as well.
So just to make sure I'm getting this right, the time limit is there to make sure that everyone gets a fair test.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And remember, the examiner is an experienced English language teacher, and they understand what it's like to learn a foreign language. Their job is to support the test taker, and that's what they really want to do. They want the test taker to demonstrate their best level of English.
Thanks for that, Don.
Thanks, Don. So guys, you can see from that video, basically, yes, the examiner might interrupt you, okay? That does not mean that you made a mistake. That doesn't mean that, you know, they don't understand you. It probably means that you're speaking a lot and you're developing your answers, you're extending your answers. So it's probably a good thing. In part one, okay, part one is short questions, short answers. Now, you can continue speaking, but if you give very long answers, the examiner will probably interrupt you. Vizu, for example, can you tell me about the area where you live? And you say, well, I'm from Haiphong. It's a small city, well, not small city, it's a large city in the northeast of Vietnam. My area in Haiphong is quite nice. There are some parks and lots of things to do. And thank you. The examiner will probably stop you there, because part one is not really about very long answers. Okay, they don't want to know everything about your area in Haiphong. Okay, they will probably ask another question. How long have you lived there? Oh, well, I've lived there all my life. I'm 22 years old now, so all my life. Oh, interesting. And tell me, who do you live with? I live with my parents and my brother and sister. Oh, great, thank you. If you give a very long answer, I live with my parents and my brother and sister. My parents are from Binh Duong. My brother is in university. They will interrupt you, okay? But don't worry, you won't lose points, okay? They are just doing their job. They need to give everyone an equal chance to show their language. So they must continue asking the questions to you. Okay, let me just reshare. So guys, that's the first. Hopefully you got some good information from that. Some tips and strategies about the test. Let me just full screen again. Now I think, Thi Huong, I think we have about 15 minutes for some questions.
Yes, Cormac. Let me share. Let me answer the most concern from the student first. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I will answer them in Vietnamese for them to be clearly understand. Chào các bạn. Vừa rồi thì chị nhận được rất là nhiều câu hỏi của các bạn về việc là các bạn thi có phải là thi online hay không, và các bạn liệu có gặp khó khăn gì khi mà thi speaking virtual không. Thì chị xin trả lời. Thứ nhất là hiện nay do tình hình dịch nên là toàn bộ khu vực Đông Nam Á chúng ta đã đều phải thi bằng hình thức online. Thứ hai nữa là khi mà với kinh nghiệm của chị thì chị thấy rằng là khi mà các bạn thi và các bạn được đeo một cái tai nghe sát vào tai này thì các bạn sẽ rất là tập trung vào câu hỏi của thầy và các bạn sẽ nghe rất là rõ. Ngoài ra thì các bạn sẽ có một cái phần mic nhỏ ở cạnh miệng, thì các bạn có thể tùy mình và có thể điều chỉnh là chỉnh xa hay chỉnh gần. Thì với những bạn nào mà cái tiếng của các bạn nó hơi to thì các bạn có thể chỉnh xa ra một chút để không bị gây khó chịu cho examiner. Còn những bạn nào mà giọng hơi sót một chút thì có thể để gần vào. Và theo chị thì như vậy là sẽ rất là phù hợp với tất cả các bạn. Và các bạn lưu ý là trong tình hình dịch hiện nay thì các bạn đều bắt buộc phải đeo khẩu trang trong cái quá trình thi nói. Và cái việc đeo khẩu trang này thì nó vừa bảo vệ bạn và vừa bảo vệ cả các thí sinh khác nữa, bởi vì tất cả các bạn sẽ dùng chung một cái microphone ở cái tai nghe. Do vậy là theo chị thì các bạn nên có thể tập luyện một chút và có thể dùng những cái phần mềm ví dụ như recorder ở trên máy tính để xem, hoặc là nhờ bạn bè của mình xem là cái giọng của mình như vậy đã ok hay chưa. Do vậy là đấy là một số lời khuyên của chị với phần speaking. Và ngoài ra thì thank you teacher Cormac for mention about the interruption of examiner. Cái phần này thì các bạn sẽ thấy rằng là thầy vừa rồi cũng đưa cho các bạn rất là nhiều những cái ideas về việc là phần nào nên nói ngắn và phần nào nên nói đúng trọng tâm, cũng như là phần nào nói như thế nào thì mình sẽ bị ngắt. Thì theo chị là các bạn nên chuẩn bị trước tinh thần và có thể tập cho mình, có thể đo thời gian để mình có thể biết được rằng là cái khoảng thời gian mình nói như vậy là đã đủ hay chưa. Và khi mình vào phòng thi thì mình cũng sẽ quen với cái nhịp độ như vậy, thì các bạn sẽ không bị quá căng thẳng khi mà bị examiner interrupt. Và như thầy Cormac cũng nói và như thầy John vừa rồi cũng vừa trả lời các bạn ấy, thì cái việc interrupt đấy là một việc rất là bình thường, và các bạn sẽ có phần nào đấy cảm thấy yên tâm khi mình được interrupt, bởi vì mình đã nói đủ rồi. Còn nếu mà mình đang nói mà bị giám khảo hỏi là Do you have any more ideas, hay là do you want to explain more, thì lúc đấy mới là cái lúc đáng lo. Nên là các bạn đừng quá lo lắng khi mà bị giám khảo interrupt nhé, và hãy chuẩn bị sẵn tinh thần là cái việc này của mình có thể đâu đó sẽ tốt hơn cho mình. Okay. Hi Cormac, I answer the most concern of the student. Now, you want to pick up any question to answer?
Sure. Okay, guys. Thank you, Ji-Hung. We have some questions in the chat box, and you can ask more questions, guys. You can add some more if you like. D says, self-correction during the speaking test can help me gain band 7. Well, I don't know what score you'll get. However, correcting yourself, like I'm student at học viện thầy chinh, I'm a student at the Academy of Finance, it will increase your score because it's one less mistake and you are showing your ability. So it will help your score. I don't know how high it will go. It depends. Next question here from Ling, I think, is it? Or is it Ha? I can't see the name. In part 2, do we need to stick to the questions in the cue card and answer all of them? Yes, you should. There are 2 parts to your question. You should say something. You should say something about each of the 4 questions. But you don't have to stick only to those questions. Like I said, tell me about a holiday you went on. Tell me, where did you go? Who did you go with? What did you do? And something you enjoyed. So those are 4 questions, but you can add more. How did you go there? Why did you choose there? You know, like I said, when, who, why, where, what, how. You can add more questions to help you expand, especially on a difficult topic. Phục Nguyên Hoa, oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome, Chinh Nguyen. Okay. Chăm Anglais. Cham. Will I be heavily lose points when I use academic words in speaking? I'm being said stop when I talk. Is it a low score? Academic words are okay. It's fine. If the vocab is in the correct context, it's okay. If the examiner stops you, don't worry about it. Okay. Kwan says, in speaking part 3, how many sentences should I say? Let me just open my chat. Okay, there we go. Should I say? Well, there's no correct number. Okay. Remember, part 3 is a conversation. The examiner asks you, give an answer, give some reasons, give some examples for your opinion, for your view, and then the examiner will ask you another question. Okay, but always support your answer with reasons or examples from your life. That's how we develop the answer. Noctien, you're very welcome. Zung, do we need to stick to the questions in the cue card? Okay, I answered that already. I said another student here, another candidate says, I know, sorry, it's very difficult to read all of these in the chat box. I know I need to pace myself during the speaking test, but I often am affected by the examiner's speaking speed. Is it possible to ask the examiners to speak more slowly? You can ask them to repeat the question. I wouldn't ask them to speak more slowly. Ask them to repeat the question. You say, oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. I didn't fully understand your question. Could you repeat, please? Or could you ask me again? Normally, they will paraphrase the question. It's not a mistake, okay? It's not a listening test, okay? It's not a listening test. Make sure you understand the question before you speak, okay? So you can ask them. And if they speak fast, you do not have to speak fast. Kim Gunn says, how can we train ourselves to think in English? Very good question. The only way to think in another language is to use the language every day. For example, now, after 4 years in Vietnam, I dream in Vietnamese sometimes because I use Vietnamese every day now. Not very good, but still, you have to use a language every day before you start thinking in the language. To speak more naturally and fluently is practice. It's not, I know it's not the answer you want, probably, but it's practice. Phương Anh, is it worth worrying if the examiner asks me too many questions? No, that's okay. In part 3, không có gì, no problem. A lot of questions is good. That means that you are answering, but don't forget to expand your answers, right? They normally ask you your opinion, your view. So give your opinion, give some reasons, give some examples. Always expand, develop. Okay, this is a good question here. Phương Tham Nguyen, how can we know which vocabulary is regular for native? You can't know, okay? There's tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of words, okay? There's no book that tells you this. However, you just focus on yourself. Forget about the native speakers, okay? Learn new vocabulary, understand how to use it, and don't focus on learning long, difficult, unusual words, okay? Normally, unusual words are long. That's the only tip I can give you there. Ming Nguyen says, in your opinion, in terms of fluency, would it be better to say, you know, like kind of instead of it's okay. It's natural. People say, you know, like, it's okay. It's a natural style. It's not wrong. You're speaking normally. Is it better than I think it's about the same. It's still pausing a little bit. Maybe it's a little better. Han Nguyen, thank you very much. Chris, I'll get back to your question if I have time. Hank says, how many sentences should I provide in part 1 of the speaking test? It depends on the question, but if someone asks you, tell me about the area you live, probably the examiner will stop you after about 3 sentences, okay? Because the examiner in part 1 wants to ask you 6 or 7 questions. They want to develop your language and help you to settle. So I can't put a number on it, but don't prepare a long answer in your mind. Answer the question directly, okay? Don't say, well, I live in a small town. The population is this. The history of the town is this. Okay, don't move out. Answer very directly in part 1. Any difference between academic and general candidates? Pham Nguyen Duy? No, speaking is speaking. The candidates, the people are all language learners. There's no difference there. If I correct myself too much, will I get penalized? No. Correcting yourself, Tom, I think it's Tom. Correcting yourself is a positive thing. If you do it a lot, it doesn't matter. You've fixed the mistake while speaking, okay? But also, Tom and everyone, don't focus too much on correcting yourself, okay? You will make mistakes, it's normal, right? Accept that and move on. If you notice a mistake, normally correct, but don't listen to yourself too much, okay? Relax, talk to the person like you're in a, you know, in a cafe or a bierhoi or a restaurant. Okay, just talk to them. Try to talk to them as normally as possible. If you don't understand the question, yes, you can ask the examiner, sorry, I didn't understand that. Could you ask me again? Tien and Nguyen Kwan. Kwan again. If I use simple vocab and advanced sometimes, but my grammar and pronunciation are good, can I achieve band 7? Yes, you can. Nguyen, I missed points because of unfamiliar topics. Okay, unfamiliar topics, guys, are probably only in part 3. Okay, don't stress before the test. Oh my God, what if, maybe if, you will go crazy. Okay, mostly part 1 and part 2 will be fine. Okay, it will be familiar to you. Part 3, possibly you'll get something unfamiliar. If you do, there's 2 things you can do. You can tell the examiner, actually, I don't know much about that topic. Maybe you can say, oh, someone in my family is interested in that, but I'm not. They will ask another question, okay? And they will maybe make it a little more general, right? It's a conversation. Also, unfamiliar topics or difficult topics, try to bring the topic back to yourself. Remember my example, how has COVID affected the economy in Vietnam? Very difficult. Bring it back to yourself. Personalize, make it personal. Why can't I use merits and demerits? It's just not used in English. I've never heard demerits before. It might be in the language, but I've never heard anyone use it, ever. Merits, yeah. Demerits, no. You're welcome, Thuần Thương. Yeah, you can ask for repetition. Kim Ngân. In part 2, how much time should I spend to avoid follow-up questions from Hang Pham Thi Thuy? Don't think like that, Hang, okay? In part 2, focus on making your notes in the 1 minute, okay? And then just delivering, speaking until the examiner asks you to stop. When they ask you to stop, they won't ask another question. The follow-up question, they use it if you stop speaking too early, and they do it to help you complete the topic. Remember, the examiner is not your enemy. They are trying to help you a little, okay? Han Nguyen, you're very welcome. I can take 2 more questions. Let's have a look. Is it okay in part 2? Yeah, so guys, in part 2, just keep speaking. Continue speaking, okay? Tiếp tục nói. Come Anh. In speaking part 3, I don't have any ideas. I only said it's difficult for me and I don't have ideas. It's if you don't know anything about the topic they're asking, remember, it's not a test of intelligence, okay? They will just tell the examiner that you're not familiar with the topic and that it's just something you don't know anything about. They will ask you another question, okay? 47 new messages. Unfortunately, I can't get through all of them. I can just look for one more here. Critical thinking, yeah, will help you, but Yo says you can rest now. Thank you, Yo. I need to go and eat bang mi chung. Okay, last question. Dang, can I pause and say nothing in my speaking for 2 or 3 seconds to construct the idea instead of Yes, you can. You can pause, sit back, think for 1 or 2 seconds like this, and then speak. No problem. Remember, it's a test of speaking. and people are allowed to take a second to think, 2 or 3 seconds, but not every time. Okay, not every time. Don't. If it's a simple question, right, in part 1, don't sit back and think too hard. Okay, just answer directly what comes into your head about hometown, hobbies, environment, family. Don't overthink. Don't think too much about easy questions. Later, part 3, okay, more thinking time is okay. Okay, xin cảm ơn mọi người. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope I helped you today a little. Chúc may mắn mọi người. When you do your test, remember, be confident, believe in yourself. You're all great speakers, great at English. It's amazing what you can do, and focus on the positive. And like I said, warm up. Number 1 tip, warm up. Okay. And thank you, Chi-Hương, for invitation.
Yeah, thank you, Teacher Cormac. Và cảm ơn tất cả các bạn. Hiện nay mình vẫn còn khoảng hơn 150 bạn đang ở trong phòng, trong hội thảo ngày hôm nay. Và chị xin chúc tất cả các bạn sẽ có một cái kỳ thi IELTS thành công và đạt được cái ban điểm mà mình mong muốn. Ngoài ra nữa, tất cả những bạn mà thi IELTS vào ngày 18 tháng 12 này thì dự kiến là chiều ngày thứ Tư tuần này IDP sẽ có một buổi nhắc nhở hướng dẫn cho các bạn tất cả các cái thủ tục và những cái lưu ý trước kỳ thi, đặc biệt là những cái lỗi mà các bạn hay mắc trong cái buổi thi, thì IDP sẽ nhắc nhở các bạn rất là kỹ. Thì các bạn sẽ theo dõi kỹ cái emails của mình, và dự kiến là trong khoảng đầu tuần sau là IDP sẽ gửi cho các bạn thông tin về cái chương trình này. Và những bạn nào muốn tham dự thì chị rất là mong gặp lại các bạn và có thể hướng dẫn các bạn để các bạn tự tin nhất và không bị mắc bất cứ một cái lỗi nào ảnh hưởng đến cái tâm lý của mình trong kỳ thi cả. Okay, so thanks Teacher Cormac again, and cảm ơn tất cả các bạn và chúc các bạn đạt được bên điểm mong muốn. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại.
Bye bye guys.